Hello and welcome back, Emily Jean if you're new here, and today we are doing another book review and we are reviewing When We Believed in Mermaids by Barbara O'Neill. So if you want to hear all my thoughts on this book, spoiler free and spoiler, go ahead, grab your coffee, grab your tea, and let's get cozy. Okay, so When We Believed in Mermaids by Barbara O'Neill is a heart-wrenching book. It grabbed my heart and it'll never let go. It never let go. This will be the spoiler-free part, and then I'll give you a big warning when we move into spoilers, and I'm just going to chat about my thoughts on the book and who I might recommend this for. A few stats about the book. It is 341 pages. It is a contemporary fiction. I read it, a physical copy from the library. I did have a Kindle Unlimited copy that you can get for free right now. I think you can still get it for free, so check that out if you're a Kindle Unlimited member. I started on January 4th, or restarted it. I did read a little bit in 2021, but I kind of just restarted it on January 4th, finished on January 7th, so read it in 4 days. It has a 4.19 on Goodreads with 180,000 plus ratings right now. And again, it's available for free on Kindle Unlimited. So, summary of this book, we have Kit and Josie Bianchi. They are two sisters. I think in another video I said they were twins. They're not twins. They're an older and younger sister. But Josie, the older sister, is presumed dead in a terrorist attack until one day Kit sees her on the news and thinks, oh my God, that's my sister. And then her mom calls up Kit and says, I think I just saw your sister on the news. And so Kit decides that she's going to go look for her sister where that news story was produced. And the rest of the book is Kit's journey and the journey of the sisters. And what will she find when she goes to see if Josie is alive or not. So that feels very mystery based, but I would say if you're looking for a mystery, like a real solid mystery, this is not it. There's a little mystery flavor and flair in the way that Barbara O'Neill does like flashbacks into the past. There's definitely like a little twinge of mystery, but I wouldn't say it's like a, I guess mystery is a spectrum. So it's, if you're looking for like a totally mystery book, this might not be what you're looking for. The synopsis makes you think that it's more mystery heavy than it is. This book is a story about grief and trauma and the impact that it has on us, and love, all different types of love, like real solid supportive love that's tainted with trauma. It definitely took my heart, like I said, from the beginning and didn't let go. I may have resonated more because of my own personal history and relating to some of the grief and trauma in this book, but I was so choked up by the end in so many different ways by all the emotions that was flowing through these characters and this book and this story. So it is really an emotionally heavy story. And then as far as my CAWPILE went, for characters, I gave it a 7, atmosphere an 8. The way that she describes New Zealand makes me feel like I'm immersed in it. I've never been to New Zealand. I always thought it would be a neat place to go, and the way she describes it was really beautiful. The way that she makes the ocean part of the story was really beautiful. I'm an ocean girl, born and raised in Maine. Even though it's a super cold ocean, it has a special place in my heart. I've surfed a little bit, so there's a lot in this that I resonated with, and maybe if you haven't had that personal history, it wouldn't impact you as much. But if you have had some of that experience, you might really enjoy this book. Writing was a 7, plot was a 7, intrigue was a 7. Logic was a 7, and enjoyment was a 9. It might have been a 3 stars if it wasn't for that 9 in enjoyment, but it ended up rounding out to a 7.43, which was a 4-star rating. And I would say definitely 4 stars just based on the emotional tug that it had on me. Now we're going to go into the reader chat spoiler part. So check this book out if you haven't yet. If you resonate with some of that like personal history piece. If you're looking for a really beautifully written contemporary fiction, check it out, come back, let me know what you thought, and then check out the spoiler section. Or if you don't care about spoilers when you're looking for a new book, or you think you're never going to read this book and you just want to hear anyways, hang out for the rest of it. So now let's move into the spoiler part. Okay, so let's just talk about a couple of cons. The fast pace of the love story with Javier. You definitely need to suspend disbelief a little bit, that they fell in love in 3 days, that they had that experience, like 3 or 4 days, I think. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible, but you definitely need to suspend disbelief that he would have such an impact on her in a short amount of time. I think people can have an impact on you in a short amount of time, but it was like wrapped up so pretty with a little bow at the end. So suspend disbelief. If you don't like love stories that happen super fast, this might not be the one for you. Also, the ending with the love intervention was a little bit cheesy, but it was also really powerful to know that she wasn't alone anymore, that she was supported. I don't think it needed the name, "We're giving you a love intervention." I think they could have said, "We came to let you know you're not alone anymore." It just didn't seem as deeply realistic as the rest of the story, but all in all, I really did love the ending and the way that it wrapped up. It did get a bit repetitive towards the end as far as the backstory and like kind of retelling the same bits again and again with Dylan, and the fact that Josie was an addict. Like, there were some repetitive bits, but I didn't mind it too much. Pros for me: character development. I really felt connected to these characters. The flashbacks into the past and the backstory was so moving and revealing in just the right way, in just the right moments. The descriptions of New Zealand and specifically the power of the ocean again, I really loved. I'm learning how important atmosphere is for me in my reading, and like feeling immersed in the atmosphere of wherever the characters are is something that I really enjoy. So I felt that in this book for sure. And then just that real and raw portrayal of love in so many different ways. Like, their deep sadness around Dylan and his connection to Josie and what ended up happening with him, and like, that was love even though it's damage, like deep love and shallow love. I thought this really touched on that really well. A couple Goodreads reviews worth mentioning it. Jeff rated it 5 stars, and he said, "You're gonna want to read this somewhere you can cry." Wow, this is a tragic tale all around. It's primarily about 2 sisters and the scars they share and the lengths they will both go to try to overcome them. Yes, I did not physically cry, but I think if I cried more easily, I would definitely have been crying. I felt choked up. I felt the energy in my throat. So if you tend to cry when you read, you're probably definitely going to cry when you read this. And then I had to mention this because I've said so much about the atmosphere of New Zealand. I've never been to New Zealand and I'm not from New Zealand, so this was really interesting to me. Joe Furness rated it 1 star. And they said, "I just found this whole book so unrealistic. As a New Zealander who lives in Auckland, I have to point out that we don't get earthquakes in Auckland. We also don't refer to Maori people as Maoris. The slim Maori girl behind the counter, the chubby Maori driver, facepalm, just no." And then just happened to run into her sister on the street, ? So maybe the atmospheric description of New Zealand is not that accurate, which was okay for me as someone not from New Zealand. I do think it's important what she's saying about like not calling out Maori people. I didn't really notice that reading, but I guess that would be something to notice for sure if you're actually from New Zealand. But then the point about just happening to run into her sister on the street, I don't think that's weird at all, because Kit already knew where Josie lived and she was walking towards Josie's house. So it's not so weird that Josie would be walking in her own neighborhood, right? It would have been more weird if that's how she found her in the first place, if she hadn't called the surf shop and figured out where she lived. Then that may have been strange, but I think it makes sense that she just happened to run into her sister. Okay, so final thing I'm going to share is who would I recommend this to? I would recommend this if you love contemporary fiction, if you're grieving and you need like a good cathartic cry. definite read. If you like stories about family, and if you like alternating viewpoints in your narration. So I forgot to mention that. It does shift perspectives from Kit to Josie throughout the book in different chapters. So if you like that sort of alternating perspective, then this is probably a book that you will enjoy. Okay, that's my review of When We Believed in Mermaids by Barbara O'Neill. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let me know your thoughts on this book if you've read it. Sending you lots of good energy. I hope you have a good day, and I hope to see you in another video very soon. Bye, guys.